Alright, hello, this is Jacob Gobil. This is my final project. As we can see, we're entering the main page, and it tells us the date and the time, and I did this by adding JavaScript to the HTML and the CSS code, and what this does is it attaches your web page. It gives an attachment that shows the date and the time, so whenever I enter it, this will pop up before the actual web page. So as we get to the web page, we can see there's a background. I added this background by going into the code, and I used the code to add an image. And before you add the image, you have to put in CSS that is a background, so the web page knows that it's not a regular image, not to the side, not a banner like this home page right here. I'm sorry, the banner right there, and that is a background. And I added headers, index, table of contents, and the Internet of Things. I did that by classifying that text was a header by using the H tag, and then I added the actual text like the Internet of Things, these links, and then the text for the abstract by classifying that those were a paragraph and not headlines. By classifying them as a paragraph, all you have to do is put the paragraph tag, which is a P, before the actual text. So as we can see, the links are data, impact, purpose, references, and tech. And those are the clickable links on the page, and they are clickable because I attach them to a hyperlink by using the href, and then you attach them to the actual page, what they're meant to be, and they just hook up. So I also added this GIF. I created this on Pixlr, and it's just a common picture of the Internet of Things, the logo I made, and then just my face. I did that on Pixlr. It's very simple. You just put 3 pictures, you merge them together, and you put them on loop. Then you download that and you add that by entering it as use the image tag, but then I just typed in my animation, which was the file name, .gif in parentheses, and it pops up. As you can see before the text, there's a box. In this box, it's a content box. It's very common in CSS, and you just have to classify what it is. And once you classify what it is, you can play around with it. You can center it, make it different colors. I centered it on the middle of the page by using the auto, just the word auto, and that automatically centers it, so you don't have to guess the pixels or what it would be to center it. So going into what the Internet of Things is, it's basically just a technology that gets put in products, and it hooks them up to the internet. And what it does by that, it just allows the products to be very more efficient and more friendly to the user that is using them. So if we go click on the banner here, well, I'll actually do that on a different web page to show it better because it's just going to take us to this page. So let's start by going into data. So as you can see, we're at the data page now, and the data page, there's 2 questions I answered on the project. It's describe how the innovation consumes data, produces data, and transforms data. The Internet of Things does that at a very high rate. That's what I found out by doing research for this project. The Internet of Things is projected to produce 2 zettabytes of data by the year 2019, and by the end of 2018, there's already going to be a projected 400 zettabytes of data already produced. And I added this picture because it shows very easily what a zettabyte is. It's a very large number, and it would just be much easier if there's a picture here to showcase what the zettabyte was than for me to explain in the text. So as you can tell, 1,000 megabytes is a gigabyte, 1,000 gigabytes is a terabyte, 1,000 terabytes is a petabyte, and then 1,000 petabytes is a zettabyte. No, it is an exabyte, and 1,000 exabytes is a zettabyte. I apologize for that. And it collects data on a lot of things. One of the example I used in here was if you have a refrigerator that's hooked up to the Internet of Things technology, it will record data such as what is in the fridge, how much is in, like when it's low. It could potentially give you the capability to order more food or send updates to you that you need more of that food. And if you do choose to buy the food, if that's an option, you can enter your credit card information and it will store that. So as you can see how easy this data will add up, because the Internet of Things isn't just for something like a refrigerator. It could be for like a doorbell, a printer, just a lot of things in general, and that really adds up. So the data storage concern is very big for this topic right here, because some analysts are calling this an impossible task with the current technology that companies are using to view the data. This is because it's such a large amount of data, and just sorting through all of it would be very difficult for the current systems they use right now. So to counter this, companies are working on different ways that they will sort through the data, and they're hoping that those will be more effective to see what they're looking for. And as I was talking about before, we have this banner up here. I created this banner on Pixlr, and as you can see, it's a link. And if I click on this, it's going to take us to the index page, just so we can go through, jump really quick from page to page without having to type in a brand new page or anything. So let's do that right now. As you can see, the JavaScript comes back up. I only put the JavaScript on the index page because I feel like if you're a user on this website and it popped up every time, it would get very annoying to have to close every time. And we're back to the page. So let's go on to the next page, impact page. And here we are. So has the banner again, of course. And the impact page, I just answered 3 questions on it, as you can see. So if we explain a benefit or harmful effect of the innovation, I think this innovation is very beneficial to the consumer, obviously, because the whole point of it is to make the product more effective and just a better overall experience for everything that we do. Just helps everything. It has some harmful effects. Like a harmful effect would be sometimes you have to get used to the technology, but the harmful effects really get overshadowed by the benefits. Like you'll take the time to learn how to use whatever item you brought, however it connects to the internet. You'll take the time to, you'll figure that out, and then it will be good. So if we explain the innovation, the effects it had on society, economy, and culture, the thing about the Internet of Things is relatively new. I think the term was invented only 15 years ago. And as you can see by this chart over here, by 2012 to 2020 in billions, the number of connected devices really projected to skyrocket. So it really hasn't had that big of an effect yet, but you can kind of imagine where it's going to go and how it's going to affect society. So for example, if you're using a printer and you see you're running low on ink, you could go to the store and buy ink, or if your printer's hooked up, you could just order it right to your house. And you could take that time that you use to go buy the ink for the printer or the paper, or whatever is needed. You can take the time it saves you by just ordering it on the printer, and you can really just be a lot more productive than running to the store. One field other than computer science, which this has potential to impact, could really be the hospital field, like the medical field. Hospitals, more importantly, they could really hook up IV machines so that whenever people are running, whenever they need more or less of an IV, the machine would just instantly know, and that could just start injecting it. That could be real beneficial. But one thing that did pop up that's a real hazard, right, real harmful effect would be hacking. It's a little far fetched, but hypothetically, somebody could hack into like a medical machine and mess up the IV levels, and that could be real dangerous for the patient. But that's not likely to happen. So back to the home page, and then if we go to the intended purpose of the Internet of Things, as I mentioned before, is to just make items much more user-friendly, much more effective, and much more efficient to use. It's just supposed to save you a lot of time. It makes the items cooler. I mean, that's not the reason, obviously, but it is a nice side effect. Just I put this picture of the fridge connecting to the phone just to showcase like some items. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, nobody ever thought their fridge would be hooked up to the internet, never mind a telephone. And it showcases how far this technology has come. And you can save a lot of time just by, if you're in the grocery store and you forget to buy something, or you forget what you have or what you need, you can just go look at your phone, see what you have in there, and you can stock up, and it's much more effective. And I added this picture in the bottom left just to showcase some household items in the Internet of Things logo, show that eventually everything will be hooked up to the internet, which is a neat concept. As you can see around these pictures, there's a little black border. I added that border by fixing the image properties, and that created that border around there. So if we go to the tech page just describe how the user interacts with innovation, and it really comes down to what the innovation, like what item is being used. There are going to be different ways to use the Internet of Things when you have different items. Like for some, they'll just come equipped with a touch screen that you can use from there. Others will have you hook up to the smartphone, and either way, they're going to be really simple to figure out and use. So, describing in detail one of the ideas of something like the internet was used to accomplish its purpose, and it's actually very big. So the technology that is needed to make the Internet of Things possible to what they project it to be in the coming years would be IPv6, and currently most places run on IPv4, which is IP addresses, but it carries only 4.3 billion. And IPv6 carries 340 undecillion, which is 3.4 times 10 to the 38th power, which is just a ridiculous amount of IP addresses. And they need this because every single item is going to come equipped with its own IP address. As before, in IPv4, mainly only computers had IP addresses. But now we're going to have basically everything in our house is going to have an IP address. So it's just going to really rack up. So we're going to go to the reference page now. And these are the sites I use to get my information. As you can see, there's a table within the content box. All I had to do was do that. All I had to do to create that was just use the table tag, which you just write table, and then you just do subtags, which can create the columns, and then you just enter the info, and they give you it automatically fits if you use their correct tags and everything. I found the information that the article I got the most information from was the Internet of Things, Why It Matters, from CNBC.com, and that was just a really, really good website.